I'm back here vibing to the songs again, man. What is technology, brother? Good Lord, we CP time. We 10 minutes late, but
Hey man, technology, man. They try to put a stop on us, but they can't
try
hold
to
it, you know.
try to put a stop on us, man. We couldn't see each other on the video. We couldn't hear anybody, but yeah, Satan, you can't hold us down. We gonna get it going, and we gonna make sure we get a show going today. God dog it. It's
Absolutely.
Sunday. January 31st. Shouts out to Jordan Nicole Hicks, 19 years old today. I got to give some love to my firstborn.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Happy birthday. Shit.
yeah, named after Michael. That's why her name is Jordan, but greatest of all time. Brother
Yes.
Allen, how you living? How you living?
Man, living good, man. Just enjoying this Southern California weather. A little bit
There
over.
you go.
We still good. We still good. No rain, so we all right.
And you see, I'm bundled up. Look, I got on hoodies, I got on thermals. I'm from the East Coast, so I call them thermals. Y'all don't know what y'all call them out here and on the West Coast, but man, yeah, it's been a little wild around here, but
Yeah,
it's
man.
it's it's all good. It's all good. We got a lot to talk about today. We do. We're gonna have a event filled conversation. We got a lot of topics. We talk about the social impact of sports. So we're gonna touch some nerves probably, and
And rightfully so. Rightfully
that,
so.
I was gonna say that's a good thing. That's a
Yeah,
good thing,
yeah,
though,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I don't know what it's. I think what. Before we get into a whole bunch of topics, but we will
Mhm.
talk about all of them. I think we have to give some respect to some folks that we did lose, both from the entertainment industry. Uh, Sister Cicely Tyson
Mhm.
lost her, so that was a huge loss to the culture. It was a huge loss to uh, the movement. And I think in the same day or again 24 hours, 48 hours after that, we lost Coach Cheney,
Yes,
John Cheney from Temple. Let's talk
coach.
about that a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and Mr. Smith from the NBA, the journalist. I think Shakur Smith is his last name. The NBA journalist, the guy I worked with. He was another guy that lost his life to COVID. But let's talk about Coach Cheney, man. What an impact. It was for me. John Thompson was the first African American coach I saw on the
Yeah.
sideline, and then John Cheney was right there, was next one in line to kind of take the
Yep.
reins when he was at Temple. And he opened up so many doors for African Americans to play on that NCAA level, and guys that went to the NBA, like Marcus Macon and all those guys when they played. I just think that it's just a tremendous loss to not only in the basketball world but also to African American culture, because this guy
Yeah.
was a pioneer opening doors.
He was again just yeah, like Coach John. He was one of the ones that
Hmm.
when you saw him over there on the side, he was animated. He was
Hmm.
he was he was into it, but he was serious, and he really cared. Yeah, about the game. Yeah, the
Yeah.
game was something, but it was about the players, and it was about the community. I mean, being in that area in Philadelphia, look, it was tough. It's tough out there in
Yeah,
that
man.
area where Temple is. And
I,
Coach went in there head first.
I think people don't understand the magnitude that man had in that area. I mean, I
Yep.
don't think people realize what I think believe, and I don't want to get the date wrong, but I know in the '80s they dropped a bomb on the city of Philadelphia. You know, a
Mm.
bomb. I'm not talking about uh them going in and arrest somebody or doing something. They dropped a bomb in that city on John Lyon in their radical movement, or I shouldn't even say radical movement, but their political movement at
Yeah.
that time. This is a time when this man is recruiting out there doing anything, and I know the mayor had issues or whatever, but can you imagine someone dropping a bomb in the middle of Sacramento or the bomb in the middle of Los Angeles? And I'm
No.
not, and I'm not, and I'm not, I'm talking about an implosive bomb,
Yeah.
mushroom and all, the whole
Yeah.
thing to catch these people. And he was an advocate. I mean, maybe not so much political because it was quite different that way, but he's an advocate to try to help African American men back in that time and when those tough times are there. Stuff like that, man. It goes swept so much far under the rug
Yeah.
that people don't pay attention to. That this man was there in the knit grit at Tempo, recruiting players out of that area, trying to be a voice, trying to calm his young men that he's representing down, trying to help people in the university calm themselves down, and so on and so on. That's a big social impact. That's beyond sports. That's beyond the basketball thing. That's a father figure and a leader in this
Yeah.
community, man. And I applaud that kind of thing, those types of things that happen. And I just, I wish the brother rest in power. rest in heaven. I hope he's
Yeah.
watching down on us and keeps guiding us the right way.
Definitely. And, I think that the teams within that area will probably do something, hopefully, just to recognize the spirit of the man. Because I was just looking and he got there in 82, right? So
Mm-hmm.
he was a figure within the community and within that area for a handful of decades. And again, there's not that many. No, don't worry. It's all about we family here. Go on, bring the youngsters on here too, right?
No, they good.
I'll give them a link so they can come on camera. But but yeah, Coach Chaney again, one of those instrumental people within the community and within sport. I always look at sport and say, it's more about it's not just the game. It's not just the X's and the O's, but it's about the team. It's about you relying on someone and someone else relying on you. And Coach Chaney really helped embody that with his players and everyone, I think, at Temple. So
yeah. He was like I said. I think he was he was a strong figure in that community. I mean, he's a strong figure throughout African American community, people that follow college sports, period. But I think he was a really influential person in that community, at Temple and Philadelphia. Beyond our beliefs. I don't even think we understand how far his reach goes in those areas. I think he's just as impactful as John Thompson, in my opinion.
No, I agree.
The man was there for so many years and did so many dynamic things. And on the court side, on the basketball side, he changed that program around. I mean, years after years, we started seeing Temple always in the tournament, turning out guys in the NBA. So, man, much applaud to the Temple family and Coach Chaney's family. Like I said, he's just another warrior that we lost in the struggle, and rest in power.
That's true. Shouts out to you, Suburban Beard, here for the love there. Again, that's what we do: entertain, inform, and educate, man. So we're gonna shoot it to you straight. A lot of times, it might not be what you what you hear on ABC, NBC, CBS, but we two folks who know a little something and using the platform to spread just some knowledge and bring folks on to communicate with us. So we appreciate it. That's why we do it right here, man. For this comment right here. So.
Absolutely.
Basketball. Let's stay in basketball. Let's stay in because look, we know we got football coming. We'll get into that. Don't worry about the game, folks. We'll get into the Mahomes and the Brady. But let's go over to that WNBA. Let's talk about Sister Parker.
Yeah, man. I think the
Parker
probably. I mean the second, the top 5 most influential women in women basketball is leaving, where she made her statement in WNBA with the LA Sparks, and now she's taking her game back to her hometown in Chicago. I think that's huge shift, and that's now we're starting to see free agency in women's sports. I think that's an awesome thing, especially women's basketball, because I believe that sport has so much more to grow. And I know the youngsters and other people, if you want to see a pure hoop game, you got to watch women's basketball, because they run basketball very fundamental, very strong, very sound. And I believe she's probably been one of the most stalemates in that organization and throughout in a representative of WNBA. And now, like I said, she's going to spearhead, I think, the free agency move now. We're going to see them players starting to bounce around and go different places. Before it was Lisa Leslie and Cheryl Swoops. Now Candace Parker's I think is going to take it to another level with her going over to Chicago, and like I said, exploring the free agency, because that's never been done in the WNBA. It's pretty much.
They never had the. I'm not gonna say they didn't have the option, but it just wasn't there. It just wasn't as seamless as it was on the other side. Franchise tag and things of that nature. But man. 13 years in LA, right? Got a couple of rings, got a couple of MVP trophies as well in her trophy case. But going home, going home,
man. Going back there, man, and just she's probably gonna be happy because she's she's got her own family. She's taking her family back home and to represent her town. I think it's just a great thing. But I think it speaks more volumes than just basketball. Like I said, her opening the door for the free agency for WNBA now. I think now we'll start to pay more attention and start to follow it. The teams will start to change the dynamic, and maybe it may not be on our local level, be as big as like a regular NBA trade or another regular NBA free
Yeah.
agency. But globally, I think that's phenomenal because a lot of people globally follow the WNBA. I think this is a great thing for the game, and I think people are going to follow a little more. I think now people can be entertained a little bit more, and people that are fans of women's basketball, I think it's a win-win all the way around. I think this
Yeah.
this is a dynamic change. I
This is a
believe.
good. This is a good start. You know,
Yes.
I've gone to a handful of. It was the Sacramento Monarchs. I don't even know if
Hmm.
they're still playing. Right. I went to a couple of their games, and you're right. The vibe is different.
Hmm.
The vibe. You know, before when the game starts, before the home team scores, everyone in the arena is standing up.
Hmm.
Right. I mean, that it shows the solidarity with the team where we don't sit down, we don't rest
Hmm.
until you get on the board. And I thought that was just so cool. And the entertainment is different, but again, just that whole aspect of the crowd engaging and being part of the whole experience really seemed to work well. I love the WNBA. I wish they would dunk. Some of these ladies can get on. They can get up there, God dog. Some of these women can get on up there and do what they need to do.
I'm not so. I'm not. The dunk part obviously is a part that's missing. But I believe with the transition of the NBA going away from the dunk to the three, I think you're going to see the WNBA now flourish more on the 3-point line and throwing them up from far in to far out and go. But if you look at the WNBA game, at least I watch a few games here and there. They still practice like the traditional basketball. The game goes through the big man, the person in the middle, I should
Yeah,
think person
yeah,
or the center.
yeah.
It goes through them, and then they kind of facilitate out that way and go. But I believe now with free agency, I think now with more coaches getting involved, and I hope they expand as well. I think it was more as we see play. I think it's going to become more like the NBA game. It's going to be a lot more small ball, quicker ball, guys, people raining the three, high scores and competitiveness. And now, obviously, with ESPN televising their games, and I think their games are getting more on platforms. I think we'll see the WNBA start to blossom more and more.
Yeah, I think that's going to happen. It's unfortunate that it hasn't happened thus far throughout all the time that they've been playing. And Corey here, Tallboy's talking, some reality here and something that
Hmm.
we were actually going to talk about. It is unfortunate, and that it needs to change to where there's some parity in
Yeah.
terms of in terms of pay, in terms of opportunity. The women can ball out
Hmm.
and look, equal pay for equal work.
Yeah.
uh, Title IX and all that. Those types of things need to continue to be a focus in the conversation to get these ladies their just due, because they're out there putting themselves on the line. They're out there doing the sport, doing the entertaining
Mm.
for us to come out there. We pay the ticket price.
Yeah. Yep.
They need to get get the
Yeah.
money at the door. They
And,
need to, or whatever the case may be. They need to do some of that.
also in contrast to that, I do believe they need to start to expand their market share. And what I mean by that, they should be televised more on games. How come they're not coming on pre-games before the NBA games so they can
Yeah,
grab more bandwidth? I think the WNBA and NBA needs to start to become more creative on how they're going to market each other and how they're going to balance each other out. I know they kind of play different. Their seasons are kind of staggered a little bit differently, but I think
mhm.
that's something that might need to change as well. The WNBA needs to gain more market share and more visibility and more everything so they can start to get paid. I would love to see Candace Parker on more commercials. I would love to see some of their superstars, Sue Bird, and them on more commercials with
Yeah,
NBA players so they can start doing. Why are they not releasing shoes just like the Damon Lillards and them are releasing shoes
yeah,
for women? I think once they start to gain that and start to get that kind of market share going, I think the salaries are going to that naturally brings the salary and the money up. But I'm all in agreement. They need to get paid for their their hard sweat work and blood and tears as well. They shouldn't have to go double dip and playing in the WNBA, then go play overseas and play
uh,
in order to make their money.
that's that's true.
That's so brutal for them to be able to do that. But I do believe we already know the media is the control into that market. The more you put it out there, the more people start to accept it, more people start liking it, and the more brand of basketball. I think the NBA and WNBA need to figure out some way to get it more to the mass medias, promote their stars in the WNBA, give them the signature shoe, give them the jersey, give them everything they need to do, just like they did when they were in the bubble. I mean, they were in the bubble; they're on ESPN every night
Every
watching
night.
WNBA. So
Yeah,
they need to keep that mass just to push the lead in that organization to be successful. And I think
yeah,
the dollars is going to come, and I'm welcoming it.
yeah.
I hope they get paid.
I think that's an interesting point, right? Because the consumer, the masses, actually got the opportunity due to COVID
Hmm.
to see the WNBA more than we typically would have, right? A normal season in the 10, 12, however many years that they've been in existence, there hasn't been as much growth as there probably should be. But because again we were all locked down, and because
Hmm.
we were in a bubble, we got to see them play on a nightly basis, not just on the local TBS and TNT,
Yeah,
but on ESPN 1 and 2. So
hmm
I think again it's all about the cost. If the season was longer, but those things are definitely at the administrative level. They got to handle that, and I
hmm
think all the players unions need to start having conversation. I know they are right. Again, we're talking to the choir here. That, in terms of are they putting in the effort to get the recognition and to get the airtime, but. Any positive is good positive. Speaking of Candace Parker, I mean, we were talking about branding. We were just talking about commercials and shoe deals, things like that.
hmm
I've seen what she's doing. She's got her brand going. She's very recognizable, especially in LA because she's been there for 13 years, and that can translate to anywhere that she goes.
hmm
She does a lot with communities. She does a lot with the youth. So I think
hmm
she's definitely got it going right. She's doing the right things, and I just hope that it continues to flourish and we see more of these. The NBA, the WNBA, and the women's soccer team. Think about this: women's soccer team are the only soccer team that the U.S. has that actually wins.
hmm hmm
Right? I got all these men's jerseys for the soccer team when they
hmm
finally made it to the World Cup and all. They fellas didn't do nothing.
Yeah, yeah.
But the women show did win all the trophies and they represented and again they just not getting that
No,
respect,
it's
unfortunately.
funny in athletics and sports in general. The women that take that they get the precedence that this is mainly tennis. The individual sports, tennis,
Mm-hmm.
maybe golf here and there. Obviously Serena, the Williams sisters transcended that for them to be
Mm-hmm.
able to get their look. And before that, you had Christina Everett and Martina Navratilova and all those guys in tennis. They
Yeah.
were the ones at forefront. But tennis, the individual sport, is the one where they really get their accolades. Everything else, they kind of take a separate second seat to men's sports. And again, I think that's because the market share isn't there, and that's usually in the U.S. only. I mean, I know we're the main consumers, but in U.S. only because I know women's basketball is very big overseas in Europe. It's very big overseas. Here, it's not because we don't invest that market share. The only time we invested in women's soccer was due because of women's soccer because they were winning in the
Yeah.
Olympics or the World Cup, and
Yeah.
the girl took her shirt off and did the iconic picture
Yeah.
and all that
Yeah.
stuff. You know, that's when they were getting notoriety. But then again, they're not getting top dollar. They're not getting the money they deserve. But also, they're not getting marketed the way they should be marketed. We put billions of dollars in men investment marketing. They probably put hundreds of thousands in women's, which is unfair when I think their athletics are starting to grow. That market's starting to grow very, very largely, and that
Mm.
it's we're now at the time we can market. It's very marketable. Nike could do a commercial with all women's sports shoes and release the Candace Parker shoes, and I'm sure they would sell like hotcakes to all the girl basketball players.
Yeah.
You know, they need to be able to. I think they need to figure out that niche, how to market them and push that button and push that juggernaut to make them be able to say, I can take advertisement dollars, live off of that. And WNBA, if you don't pay me, I don't have to pay, and start to become like the men want to hold out and do all their thing. I think that playing field is starting. I don't know if it ever get to that same equal level field, but I'm hoping that disparity grows a lot closer.
That's true, and maybe Master P is listening because no, he's trying to buy Reebok. He's trying to buy Reebok. Maybe he can get some Candace Parker, some gear or something like that because make it black owned like that.
Yeah.
Let's go back to this question right here since we're talking about the WNBA. Shouts out to you, Robert. I see you, brother. So, if you had to make a prediction, what's the one change the WNBA will make where the players and league will further flourish in money and prominence? That's a good question.
I believe pushing them in market. I think you got to market your players. I think the skill set and the quality of the game is there. They got players that can play. Even
Yeah.
college coming in, they got the draft. They got the emulation of the NBA already there, except they don't market them like NBA markets their players. And
Yeah.
granted, they don't have the budget to do that just yet. But I think you could take one, make him the face of the WNBA, and let's push it like they did Michael Jordan, like they're doing LeBron right now. Let's push that one person to their household name, and then that changes the whole dynamic of the whole entire league.
It's almost the problem is that on the lady side, and this is my opinion, but
Mhm.
that this is our show, so we can give our opinion. It
Yeah.
seems like they promote the women more when they leave the sport and go into like advertising or to go into the analyst role, right? When they
Mhm.
go leave the court and they sign up to work for Fox Sports or they sign up for ESPN, right? That's when they get their platform to really give their analysis, to really talk and really it, it's almost too late, right? I mean,
Hmm.
give it to them while they're out there again, putting the body to out there every single day, putting in that work. Give it
Yeah.
to them when you see that they deserve it. You drafted them out of college. You knew that they were going to be great. You knew they were going to be great for your city and your state and your franchise and your organization. Give them their just due. Give them
Well,
their just due.
I haven't think about this. Think about this. We celebrate Connecticut, the collegiate women's basketball team, more than we do any of the WNBA.
Well,
And
yes,
you
yeah,
and you know why? Because they pushed Connecticut. They pushed that name out there when the tournaments were going on, when they were winning 100, when they
yeah.
were in those hot streaks. They pushed it, and before then, they used to push Tennessee.
Yep.
Tennessee was the women's basketball team, and
Yeah,
before that, it was LSU.
yeah.
Those guys were on TV before the men's came on. They were playing the
Yep.
college games, and we watched them all, and we were like, "Wow, no, we didn't know girls was playing like that." And then
Yeah.
and they pushed that agenda so hard that we celebrated them. They do not push the WNBA like that, and I think that's just a travesty to the game because they have such great players in the NBA and such great talent that I would wish they can figure out a dynamic to push, market, and get their message to the masses that this is a talented league.
I'm gonna put an action item out there for one of our listeners and viewers right now. Tall boy, hey, you've got some relation and some folks that are in the college basketball coaching realm. Like, we need to have a conversation and get firsthand perspective, right? You know, we're coming at it from uh, a third person looking in. I think I would love to get someone who's in the league, professional or at the collegiate level, and have a conversation in terms of uh, what they see in terms of the future for these young women athletes. So let's see what's he
Absolutely.
talking about. Why they were undefeated and that was the draw. What are you talking about? Give us some specifics on the question there, brother. Give us some
No, I
specifics.
no, I
Or,
agree. I agree with Talbot. Talbot said that was their draw, that they were undefeated, and people. Let's be honest, people want to either watch them lose or watch them continue success.
okay,
But
okay,
I mean, even leading up to that, and even past since they have lost, they still pump Connecticut up. They still have a more heightened, I think, a more of a marketing or a more tool that's out there that people know more about Connecticut than they do about the NBA. They really flourish on that program. And I'm not taking anything away. I think they're phenomenal. It's a phenomenal women's basketball program, and they've been doing their job. But I'm saying, how come that same fuel and fire of dollars isn't put behind some of the WNBA and the marketing there? Because I remember, if I don't remember, I remember when they kind of first started, Houston was the team with Cheryl Swoops and that squad.
yeah, yeah.
They were dominant,
Mm-hmm.
and people still didn't jump on board too much. And then now we had LA had their run, and then the Seattle team and the Phoenix teams had their run, and people just don't know that much about the WNBA more so than they just follow or jump on the bandwagon of Connecticut and the Tennessees and stuff, women's basketball programs. I'm hoping that dynamic change. It goes from the collegiate into the WNBA pro, and they can feel those dollars and maybe gross that market up a little bit.
I agree. I agree. Let's transition into another sport.
Hmm.
Just a quick headline, but I think a worthy conversation because it's slightly controversial. And you
Okay.
weren't you're not even ready for this. I'm throwing something
Go
out
ahead,
here that you
throw it at me. Throw it.
I'm just gonna hit you out of left field. Let's talk
Okay.
baseball.
Oh, okay.
Hall of Fame nominations came out, or the voting came out not too long ago last week.
Hmm.
Three gentlemen who have been on the ballot for 9 years, who, if you look at the stat sheet, they probably should be in the hall. Talking about Barry Bonds, talking about Kurt Schilling, talking about Roger Clemens.
Hmm.
Within baseball and within Hall of Fame voting, you can only be on for 10 years to get the baseball writers to vote you in. You need 75%. Barry
Hmm.
Bonds got 61%, Kurt Schilling got 71%, and Roger Clemens got 61% this year for voting. We all know why they aren't in yet.
Hmm.
Uh, they've got the stat sheet, right? They got the home runs, they got the strikeouts, they got the stolen bases, they got all of those, right? They
Hmm.
got the RBIs and the no look pitching shutouts. They got that, but there's that controversy of, well, specifically with Clemens and Bonds,
Hmm.
of taking performance enhancing drugs
Hmm.
allegedly.
Hmm.
So I'll throw that allegedly, and I'll throw in that legal talk. But that's why they're not in. But then your boy Kurt Schilling, man, him and 45 on Twitter, boy, they get to talking, and they get to
Mm-hmm.
they get to turning up some dust. So that's why he's not in. Quite frankly, and quite honestly, what's your thoughts about that? Because again, they only got one more year before they can. There's ways of still getting in, but
Yeah.
you want to get in within that 10-year span of having the baseball writers actually vote you in and get that 75%. What's your thoughts about Bond, Schilling, and Clemens?
Bonds and Clemens, man, that's a rough spot for me to say why ain't they're in, because they said they took performance enhancement drugs.
Mm-hmm.
But if the pitcher's taking performance enhancement drugs and the batter's taking it, then the playing fields are kind of like even, right? They're both on the same thing. They're going.
They both
juiced
up.
Yeah, they both juiced up, so that part's going. But I'm saying I don't think taking. I know the reason behind the enhancement drugs is for you to recover faster. Then and makes you a little bit stronger and go on. Bonds, that doesn't make your eyesight, hand and eye coordination that much faster. It doesn't do that. And he was able to do what he done not 1 year, multiple years in that home. And I'll be perfectly honest, the baseball needs to check themselves, because during that time, the juicing time or the juicing era, not more people watched baseball and paid attention to baseball than ever. When it was the Sammy Sosa, McGuire,
Yeah.
Bonds, and Griffey home run show.
I was glued into. No, you're right. Yep.
Every night I'm checking ESPN who hit a home run tonight and who got the lead. Fans, they were selling out fans and jerseys and memorabilia and everything, so on and so on. And now you got these writers that want to find a reason in a hole to poke these guys in their accomplishments to say, oh, you know what, they juiced. That was the reason being it. Allegedly juiced. And this is the reason why they're not in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Barry Bonds, there's two folds with him. He's not a kind person to the press, and he has this situation. He has a situation where they think he took drugs or took performance enhancement drugs. So that's the reason why they say they keep him out.
Yeah.
Let's talk. I believe Hall of Fame needs to be based on numbers, not sports writers. Because sports writers, I can have a bad conversation with you and not like you. And now that means that you can hold a personal grudge and not vote me in, and not based on my merit or my work or what I've done.
Yeah.
Now, if they said I did take it and they found out I did take it or I lied or whatever about it, then maybe that's subject to question to figure out I should get in or not. But that still should not take away of what I've accomplished when I was playing on the field. I did my thing. Same thing with Roger Clemens. He struck out people. He did what he's supposed to do. Him, it's recovery for his arm or whatnot. Bottom line, it doesn't take away from what he did. And they say, well, everybody wasn't taking them. Who's to say? Who's you to pick and choose who did it and who not? Because just as many as you caught, that's as many you did not catch. And is steroids is steroids the only drug that we're talking about, or performance enhancement drugs? Why aren't we talking about cocaine? Why are we not talking about alcohol? Using people that are alcohol. Why are we not talking about all these other drugs when they were taking them when they were in pain or inducing painkiller? All that stuff is to help you either to recover or get over your soreness to get you better and well. So if you're not going to take in consideration someone that was taking cocaine and doing these things, and you'll still let them in the league in the Hall of Fame, why are you now ostracizing these guys that supposedly took these enhancement drugs? Yeah. Let's talk about their numbers. Numbers get you in, then you can have your conversation about their numbers and put the asterisks on there and all that stuff after that.
Yeah, do all. So I agree with you for the most part there, but I need to give a shout out here. I see some old school folks coming in. Mr. Tony Davis, you don't understand. I got some old players coming in here, and these folks know about sports. Appreciate you, TD, man, talking about, and you're right. And when you get black folks and you start talking about getting into Cooperstown or getting into the Hall or whatever the case may be, then you got a whole lot of different conversations and you got different caveats to start creeping in, and it's unfortunate. Barry Bonds will get in. He needs to get in. When you look at how many home runs that man hit, when you look at what he did for Pittsburgh and San Francisco, primarily San Francisco. What's going to get him in is the work that he put in. It's in San Francisco with the Giants. You can't take that away. Yeah. Okay, he took something. Okay, maybe so. But again, I really don't understand how a man's legacy. Right. All the work that you put in for how many years was he in? 16 years, whatever the case may be. Each of those gentlemen were in for one and a half decades. And to put in all that work, to show up to all those games, to get up there and have a 90-mile-an-hour fastball coming straight at your dome, and you were able to still hit that thing 400 feet.
Mhm.
Look, I can't hit a 400 yard.
Yeah.
I can't hit that ball that
But
far. If I had the tension, and even if I was not juiced,
so
I think that it's slightly hypocritical. I think just in
slightly,
terms of
it's completely hypocritical. I mean, think about it. Hold on, okay,
go
so they forgive Mark McGuire. I don't know if Mark McGuire's in the Hall of Fame, but they forgive him. They like,
Mark
oh, Mark.
McGuire ain't going. No, he ain't getting.
Okay, he may
So
not get it,
so
but from a media standpoint, they forgive him. They're like, oh, okay, Mark did it. We're good. What's the other dude that took it for the Yankees? I don't know if it was Jeter or Alex Rodriguez.
you
'Cause I'm
talking
not a
about
baseball
Alex?
fan. Yeah,
So Alex Rodriguez, he's
he's
not
about to
in
own
yet.
a team, but he's about to own a team.
No, he does own it. Yeah, no,
He
no,
owns
no,
a team.
no. Jeter owns a team.
Oh, Jeter owns a team. But Alex,
Owns.
Alex was about to buy the Mariners, though. Alex was in the running to buy the Mariners at one point. Am I correct? I think he
Yeah,
was in the running. So
he is not like yeah. That's you're right.
so
You're right.
so,
Keep
so
going.
they forgive them for doing something that was similar to what Bonds is. Bonds is the only reason Bonds is not in is because he doesn't get along with writers. He never gave them the sound bites they wanted, and he told them to kiss the backside.
Yeah, yeah.
Sosa, I'm not sure why Sosa's not in. I know he's not in, but he for whatever reason he's not in it either for his situation. But I cannot believe that you're talking about performance investment drugs that you haven't proved that he's taken. He especially Bonds, because Bonds didn't admit that he did anything, and it didn't prove that he took anything. It's just alleged. And since it's alleged, that means it hasn't been factual or hasn't been proven factual. So he should be let in based on his numbers of the thing. The only reason is
Yeah.
the writers. The writers is the
Who was
one.
that dude? Who was that dude that wrote that? Jose Canseco
Yeah.
wrote that book, and then he went up in front of Congress and just started tattling, and just talking out the side of his neck, and that dude is just wrong in and of itself, because he wasn't good enough, and he's definitely not getting in. But no, I completely agree with you. I think the Rocket, Roger Clemens, should be in.
Yep.
The man was a beast, right? He could strike you out, and he threw a curveball. It just made you look stupid. Barry Bonds has to get in, right? Again, yeah. Look, I'm a moral man. I'm a righteous man. I look, but you know what? When you look at what the man did, when you look at the stat sheet and the fact that man came out there and played every single night, and he knocked 700 some home runs over that wall, batted runs in, did all that work. He's got to get in. Schilling, I haven't watched him that much, so again, I don't know, and I just know that he had the bloody sock game, and that was a great story, right? Because he I think he won the World Series, and he had the bloody sock and the things like that. But I can't speak specifically on that. One person that I do also think should be in the Hall of Fame for baseball, and this is slightly controversial. I think Pete Rose needs to be in the
It
Hall.
should have been in there. Should have been there. Should have been there. I mean, if cheat, he didn't cheat. He gambled. He did something outside the sport.
Who else gambled?
Exactly. Charles Barkley.
No.
We can talk about the dude on the team. Charles Barkley gambles. Michael Jordan gambles.
There you go. Right.
They all gamble. They all
Jordan. So Jordan, the greatest of all time, the dude who I named my kid after, told everybody, "Look, I'm gambling. Look. Yeah. I will gamble on this game, that game, whatever the case may be." And so
now, but see, I think there's a difference. Gambling and point shaving are two different things, and they try to make them synonymous when it comes to sports athletes. I don't think Pete Rose did point shaving. He didn't say, you know what, we're going to win by 2 runs instead of 5 runs. That's impossible in baseball to be able to predict that way. He just betted on the sport. What are you doing? Yes, it's wrong. Yeah. I get it. People can have a problem with that, but that does not negate what that man's done on the field and how successful and how great he was on the field. So I think he should be in the game. But again, I don't understand why writers have the say of who gets in and who doesn't.
Yeah, it's a trip, right? I mean, that's very old school, old mentality thinking, right? I mean, that's that old.
Last I checked, owners there's what, however many owners and players and former Hall of Famers should be the ones that vote who's coming into the Hall of Fame. It shouldn't be writers, right? Man, writers can have. Like I said, James, man, you can get in an argument. I can be like, man, I ain't messing with James no more, no matter what he do, and I have my own opinion. Barry Bonds did that to masses because he didn't do interviews. So from everyone on national level, from Pittsburgh to San Francisco, they tried to interview him. Oh, he's a jerk, so I'm not going to interview him. So now this person turns around and has the right to talk about whether my accomplishments should be in the Hall of Fame or not. I think that's bogus, man.
These
That's
writers
yeah.
ain't picked up a bat, ain't picked up a ball, don't know how to play. Stephen A. Smith ain't played a game. He can talk. Look, he's
Yeah,
entertaining, but that
yes,
boy,
yeah.
man.
He played high school, maybe some small time college,
What
but
do you say?
he
You
yeah,
play little Pee Wee? You
yeah,
played.
yeah, yeah, man. So they, for them to have that kind of control over his legacy, I think
Yeah,
that's sad. But I believe, like you said, I do believe. I hope Bonds gets in. I hope Clemens gets in. Like you said, I'm not a big baseball fan. I know Kurt Schilling, kind of the same stories. He
yeah.
did good in his way, and I think ultimately, I hope somehow they lift that ban on Pete Rose and let him in, because
Yeah.
all those guys deserve to be in.
Before he's gone, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
and he's apologized, he's done it, and they still let him work on MLB Network, so he gets to do analyst work for some
Hmm.
games, so they're letting him back in, and that was a few years ago. But I've always been a Pete Rose guy, and I think he needs to get in. But
Yep.
we'll move on from that, folks. Check it out. This is what we talk about, God dog it. This
Mm.
is Team No Slate. We stir it up. We get the blood flowing. Look, and these aren't easy conversations. I know we're talking about sports, but remember, we're talking about the social impact of sports, and there's a whole nother dynamic when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah.
Football, oof, lot of. I don't know what it's. You know what? Let's do this.
Let's start at Seattle. Let's start with
Yeah,
Seattle.
that's right. Let's get focused. Let's get
Yeah.
focused here.
Yeah.
There's some things happening in the world, and it's always prominent when you are a celebrity, when you're on TV, when you got some recognition or whatever case may be. So it gets blasted out and broadcasted out there in the news, and we hate to see it. We hate to see it. So offensive lineman for the Seattle Seahawks. Not sure if everyone's heard the story, but Chad Wheeler got into an argument with his girlfriend last week. It got violent. It got physical. They got yelling and screaming, and he started choking her. She went unconscious briefly. When she came back, she ran into the bathroom, locked herself in, called the police, said that this man is trying to kill me. Apparently, he's bipolar, and he's supposed to be on medication. Was not taking his medication. Hasn't been taking his medication for a while. Long story short, Seattle Seahawks said, "You know what? We're through with you because of this story. There is no place in the world for domestic violence like this. Don't be touching. Don't put your hands on a woman. Period. I'll just put it right there."
Yep.
And just the egregiousness of what Wheeler did just needs to be addressed. So he's been kicked off of the team. He's definitely been waived. I think he was free agent, so he's been waived, and charges have been pressed against him. I'm not sure if he's in jail. I think he made bail, but charges were put in place. We got to talk about it, man. We got to talk about it.
It's not
right?
enough. That's not enough. That's not enough. He. First of all, I blast the media, because his picture's not on every syndicate show or everything, just like Ray Rice was when he was guilty of the same situation, for domestic violence.
Yeah.
Ray Rice's picture was on blast on every Sports Center, every situation, everyone. And now this man, people barely know about this. Barely know about this incident unless they follow Come Sports, or they catch it maybe just a quick segment on ESPN of what's going on. So I'm very upset with the media, or the mass media, in that regards. Number two, this man left her for dead. He thought he killed her.
Yeah.
He thought he killed her. He said, I'm surprised he was still alive. And the reason behind why he did do it is because he said she didn't bow to him.
Yeah, that part right there had me shook a little bit.
Well,
right?
Where are we? And they even make it. Let's add it on. She was a woman of color. I don't know if she's African American or she's mixed or whatnot, but she was a woman of color. And then he's happens to be a Caucasian man. He's telling this woman she needed to bow down to him, and since she didn't, he damn near beat her to death. And to tell me that doesn't warrant those actions along, bipolar or not, induced with drugs or not, or alcohol or not, whatever you're on, that permits you a lifetime ban from football, just like Ray Rice. Ray Rice never ever to play football ever again, no professional level.
True.
Why is this person right here able to kind of work his way through the back ends and kind of maneuver his way through there, where this is not mass media, where he's not crucified by the media and everyone else like everybody else has been when they do these situations.
Yeah, this hopefully this does not end right now, right? Again, this all broke out. Listen, and I know, yeah, the Ray Rice stuff happened really quick, right? Yeah, so January 28th is when I'm seeing the story came out and everything. But Goodell and Players Union, all those folks in the know-how and in the ranks of making decisions need to go ahead and kick this boy out, put him behind bars, and get this dealt with, and get the young lady as much assistance that she can from a mental and from a physical perspective as well, because this was just an ugly story. And when I read that part again about the fact that he asked her to bow to him, that's a whole nother level, right? That's not just the physical abuse, that's the mental piece right there as well, right? I mean, and that just conjures up again so much different feelings from a negative perspective again for people of color, right? And to have that statement come from this man. You okay, you're not taking your medication yet, you need to be doing that, but there is no reason, there is no excuse for the level of egregiousness that has happened. Damn, CNN up here putting all these flyers.
I really can't, I just don't understand where he thought that was either okay to do, or he felt, I mean, obviously I don't think it was a first time thing. I don't, at least that's my opinion. That's from what I've read. Yeah, from what I read and what I've seen.
They were only together for 6 months. Okay. But that type of, and again, I don't know from firsthand experience, but I'm thinking that type of reaction, that type of outburst, not the first time for him.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think it's the first time for him, and I don't know if this is the first time it happened that way. Maybe it was subtle. Maybe it was just verbal at that point. It didn't get physical. I'm not quite sure because I'm not in a relationship. But I can tell you right now, man, that this is a very, very ugly stain on, I think on football in general, because our football players are already considered, violent, and somewhat out of control at times and all that stuff. I think this puts a big stain on football, but also hope this wakes up that domestic violence is real. I mean, you can have all the money in your world, and these situations are still occurring. With professional athletes that are doing this to women, and not all of them. I'm not crucifying all of them. I know there's a lot of good people out there, but situations like this just puts that stain. And let's be honest, Ray Rice was a stain. The way that was a stain. This is just as bad of a stain, and I want NFL should take some responsibility to bring in awareness to this kind of situation. It should be,
I think they will, and I want to address this too. What Tony was saying, the whole problem with mental health, and again, that really is true from a whole mental health perspective. That needs to be addressed, especially. And I think I told you this before as well. Mental health with men is one of the things I'm trying to champion, especially for this 2021. Men don't have those conversations about how am I doing, and can you help me, brother, and those types of things. We don't go into
emotions.
We don't go into emotions. Conversations, and I think we need to. But the difference in the Ray Rice thing, and I don't want to see video of this. Because man, it'll break my heart even more. But I think when that 911 call comes out and we hear the distress in her voice, I mean, again, that's going to cause some more reaction, and that's going to cause some more movement. They do need to move quickly on this.
But the images that we saw of her, I mean, the images of her face being I don't know, either punched in or pushed in or whatnot. But I mean, the images of her and her nose is bloody and all that stuff. I mean, come on, man! Like you're a lineman, I believe, in the NFL.
Yeah, offensive lineman, big fella, right?
Yeah, you're like 300 pounds, and you're hitting on this young woman, like she, you brutalizing this young woman, and like I said, I don't think the media they have cast a big spotlight on this in the media as they did with Ray Rice. And I'm going by historics. You did it with Ray Rice. How come you're not doing it with this? And I hate to say it, and I don't like bringing race in this, but there's a difference between the way they paint the picture of an African-American male athlete and the way they paint the picture of a white athlete. The scenarios are similar. Ray Rice brutalized and hit his girlfriend in abuse. This guy hit his girlfriend in abuse. And yet Ray Rice was plastered on, he was on Good Morning America. and
Yeah, no, he
all
was.
those
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
This guy, I've seen him, nothing on him on any cameras. I've just seen them say something about it. He made bail, and they haven't said anything about it. NFL addressed it a little bit, and it's kind of just like, hey, this is on the back page of front line of headlines. It's not on the front where it should be splattered.
Which is crazy because right. So and when I first read about this, I looked for the couple of little spots and I saw it. I saw the one little blurb on CNN. I saw the one little blurb on ESPN, and unfortunately, I had to go to here because you
Mm-hmm.
always know TMZ. I mean, it's not
Yeah.
it's not the mainstream media location. It's not, but TMZ was the first place we found out like about Kobe, right? And
Mm-hmm.
this is where they're gonna get, unfortunately, gonna get the dirt and kind of gonna get some of that information. And they've got a little bit more of a detailed
Mm-hmm.
description of the things that are happening. I don't want to get my primary news from TMZ.
Yeah, the credibility is not there.
I
The
don't,
credibility
right?
is not
Right? They got the the mules out
Mm.
there grinding, doing the paparazzi thing. But unfortunately, a lot of times, if you want to hear both sides of the story or an alternative side to the story, so you can formulate your own opinion and really see what happened, you got to go to some of these locations, and it's just brutal, man. So I agree with you. This guy has got to be released, not allowed to play anything professionally. There's no excuse. There's no second chances.
Yeah,
it's just terrible. It's terrible.
and let's add on top of that. He may be mental health and he's bipolar, but unfortunately, you have to be able to be accountable for your actions.
Yep.
I never want to see a person be incarcerated, but the things like this are warning that you need to be tried
Hmm.
and let the courts deal with the situation the way they may be. Like again, I'm not an advocate of people going to jail, going to prison, but I do believe he needs to go through the system and the court system and make them make an adequate situation. And if this crime that he's done warrants jail time, then he needs to serve jail time.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Based
sir.
on that, I mean, and that's just the bottom line of it. If me and you go out and beat our spouses like that, we're locked in jail.
We gone. We gone.
We're gone. Why is it any different for this person because he's now an ex NFL player or whatnot? This really needs to be addressed and really done and really and not only fixed, but then addressed so it doesn't happen again with a person like that within their organization, the NFL organization.
Yeah, and I'm confident that, or I don't know what the word is I'm trying to find right now, but I think I'm hopeful that folks like us that have a platform to have these conversations will continue to bubble this up and share it and someone who is in that situation, someone who is in a position of being able to make decisions, being able to make
Mm-hmm.
additional change, because we're making change and we're moving the needle. But again, I think we need someone in Goodell's office to see
Yeah.
a copy of this film at 47 minutes 55 seconds and say, you know what, these brothers are talking about this is right. We need to look further into this and we need to make some drastic moves, and you got to be quicker too. You can't be slow, especially when it comes to something like domestic violence, when it comes to mental health, when it comes to the types of things that
And the funny part about it, James,
yeah.
NFL has the perfect platform to do it now because the Super Bowl's coming. Why not
Yeah.
have something that says we're standing against domestic violence and whatnot, and be able to promote that, hey, we're in solidarity, that we're all against this. In other words, they rather mask it by the Super Bowl game and not talk about it than just go ahead and take it on, just address it head on, and let the public know that we're not going to stand behind this, and we're not going to do this, and we don't support domestic violence. It's funny, man. The NFL, the good old boy, and it's a good old boy network. I'm not going to bite my tongue on that. The good old boy networks got a really good way of putting what they want in front of the agenda as far as marketing and out there, and sometimes not addressing what's going on in society, that it also affects their clientele, affects their personnel that goes out there, and not putting that to the forefront as well.
What's a trip, and I didn't even think about this. I'm part of the NFL communications media, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I get all this, I get everything, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I'm searching right now as you're speaking. They didn't send anything out in terms of a press release about this. I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking at every single thing that
Yeah.
I've got lately about the NFL.
Yeah.
Uh,
You
Super
think
Bowl stuff.
we think people don't want. If someone said, "Hey, Tom Brady, how do you feel about the situation?" Why shouldn't he be able to address that? It ain't like he's not human. It's not like he's not a part of this community. It's not like he's not a part of the NFL. And he can be like, you know what? I don't stand for that. I don't know what that guy was thinking. Whatever his
Huh.
comments may be, but that speaks volumes and power because he's such an influential person. But for them just to mask it and not say anything about it, like let's not address it, let's kind of just sweep it under the rug and let the NFL, let the Super Bowl take its shine, and now let's not address these kind of issues. That to me, man, is a problem within itself.
I got stories here. Miley Cyrus, the headline, the NFL TikTok tailgate at the Super Bowl. I got NFL festivities to kick off with opening presented by
Yeah.
Bolt 24. Then I got the Rooney family condolences. But that's interesting again just to see, because this is everything that the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I got an invite to the Super Bowl press announcement,
Mm-hmm.
so I get every piece of communication that they send out, and the fact that it's just dawning on me that they sent nothing out explaining or expressing what they're doing. Even if they were just going to say, we're investigating, we're doing what we need to do. All right.
Mm-hmm.
We're going through the process. We're gathering all the information. They sent nothing out to talk about
Nothing.
this particular key.
Yep.
That's pretty telling right there.
Yep.
Damn, I'm blown away by that, man.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I'm blown, but I'm not.
I thought maybe I missed something, but as we were talking, I had to pull up all the emails, and no, that's crazy.
Yeah. Shout out to Iowa Wesleyan. I'm rocking y'all shirt.
Man, you don't know what you're doing.
In that football program, just so y'all know. Y'all sent me a shirt. I got love for y'all. So let's continue, my man. What else we got on the agenda?
Oh shoot, I ain't mad at you, brother. Yep. Kareem Hunt. Yeah, that was true.
Yep.
Shouts out, TD for coming through with some insight there. Football. We'll continue on football. We'll talk a little bit more of a lighter subject, not sidestepping or anything. What was happening with Chad Wheeler? I hope that continues to get addressed. But next week, everybody's getting ready. I think they're getting ready. We'll see. It's an interesting year. I'm not looking forward. I don't. The weekend. I don't know if I want to see him. First of all, we'll talk about the game in a minute. I'm not. Look, this dude. What's he keep doing to his face? Why he walking around with all these bandages on his face? And he's supposed to be. He can't do better than Prince and Michael did.
No comment. Let's move on.
Man, okay,
keep that one going.
Yeah, so that's your boy for halftime show, but quarterback matchup. Mahomes is confident, that young fella. He's coming back trying to do it one right after the other, but he's got somebody else on the other side of the field. He's got the GOAT staring him down.
Yeah. He got the
49 years old or 85-year-old Tom Brady is trying to make it happen.
Yeah, you got to go, but man, either go can't beat Father Time either, man. It's starting to, I'm a Brady fan. Brady's the greatest quarterback to ever do it, but Mahomes is the best quarterback doing it.
Look at, but man, I put that on TV. Hold on, that's gonna be the Instagram marketing tag right there, right?
Hey, I'm just speaking. I'm speaking truth.
Yeah,
Brady is the best to ever do it. Mahomes is the best doing it right now. So with that being said, quarterback matchup wise, I give the edge to Mahomes because of his youth, obviously his athleticism and the team he has around him. Brady's a surgeon. He's surgeon. They're able to hand him over the offense. A lot of things he's able to make the right decisions and do a lot of good things. But people forget, man, Brady had a lot of turnovers in that game. He's still throwing a lot of picks. It's not a pretty win. I mean, it's the difference, man. So I look at the game and like Mahomes took control of that game for them to win. Brady's was a team effort, and that's how they won. Stopping the turnovers. Brady was calling the right plays. He scored the touchdowns first, but that defense had to come through to hold them off so to make sure they don't score again. Mahomes, man, they were down and he took over. He started making the plays and making everything and making them win. So I give the edge to Kansas City. I think Brady's going to hand it. I'm not saying Brady's going to just, Brady's going to hand over the torch over to Mahomes. I believe it's kind of a pass down, kind of like Michael to Kobe. He's handing the pass down over to him. But I do believe Brady's coming back next year. I think he's going to be so driven, win or lose. I think he's going to be like, I'm so driven that I lost. That we just need to get a few more pieces so I can bring this back and let's play again. I don't think he's done. Now, if he wins, well, let's take it back. That's if he
Yeah.
loses. If he wins, I don't see any reason why Giselle, his wife, the supermodel, might say it's
Yeah.
time to ride off in the sunset. You done it. You did it without
She make
Belichick.
more money than he do.
True. And she might say it's time for you to stay at home with the kids.
Yeah, she pulling in more
Yeah.
7 figures than he is.
Yeah.
So
So it might be that situation where like I did it, I'm on top. I might just ride off into the sunset like Peyton Manning. I think it'd be a
yeah,
discussion to bring him back, but I'm not quite sure what that'll land. I know he keeps saying he wants to play to a certain age, but let's keep it. Let's be 100. The dude's
yeah,
the best quarterback to ever do it. I know people say Montana, this, and that. You would never ever argue. Brady's numbers are impeccable in the
yeah,
Super Bowl. They are
yeah,
impeccable in playoffs. Whether he did it with Belichick or not, that dude did it. He's the
yeah,
man. But right now, doing it, it's Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers. He beat Aaron Rodgers. I don't think he's gonna beat Mahomes
yeah.
in that squad.
That's true. And I feel I'm an Aaron Rodgers fan too because he's NorCal kind of dude, right? He's from up around here, and well, you know that too. But
Yeah.
I do wish that he gets another opportunity to
Mhm.
get to the top of the mountaintop.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tough. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be. And what did I say last week? I'm cheering for Tampa Bay. I want the story of Brady to win, but I think that the game. I think somebody's just going to blow it up. I think if Tampa Bay has all their weapons, if Antonio Brown is not acting a fool, if Gronk is out there doing his thing, spiking the ball, if Evans is out there running past folks, making them look ridiculous, them some weapons that you just can't mess with now.
Well, I
Tyreek
believe
Hill.
I'm different though. So let's stay on that point. I
Yeah.
think the key to Tampa Bay winning, if they're going to win, is
Mhm.
Ronald Jones, the running back. He's got to have a big game, man, so they can keep the ball out of. They can keep the ball out of Mahomes' hands. That's when they're gonna have their chance to win. If they trying to do a shootout back and forth with Mahomes in Kansas City, they're not gonna win.
Yeah, no, that's true. Brady gonna tire out because Mahomes
Yeah.
got that young energy. That's true.
Because
That's true.
but I believe if Ronald Jones can help them hold the ball, keep time of possession, keep Mahomes off the field, chip them all the way down, get these 8, 9, 10, 13, 14, 15 play drives instead of doing ones and twos all the way down the field. I think that's where their chance is. If they try to get into this shootout with Mahomes and hunting them, they're gonna lose. They're gonna lose. Those dudes is young, fast,
Yeah.
and they're used to putting up 50 points a game.
I'm looking to see what Ronald Jones is posting on social media. Make sure he ain't out there. Make sure he ain't out there acting a fool, going to the club and
No, he good. He good. Brady got them boys locked down, man. He got them all. He got them straight, man. So I think that's good. But hey, so Super Bowl, I'm taking Kansas City. Like I said, I would love the story of Tampa Bay. I would love to hear that story. If Brady goes out GOAT, man, he ain't got no problems with me. But I think it's the Mahomes, man. It's the Mahomes show. I'm until somebody dethrone the young man, I'm riding with him.
All right, we got to put some type of sportsman's gentleman's wager on it or something. Whoever loses has to come to the next show. I don't know, wearing rival teams gear or wearing.
We won't put something. We could do that. We'll come a little bit. Yeah, we'll come a little bit.
Yeah, we got to come with something.
We'll do that. But let's move on to that trade though that we had to tell you about the Stafford for Goff.
Yeah, that was how I was gonna wrap, because I got some daddy duty today. Like I said, it's my daughter's birthday. So that actually is, and we're falling into it the right way. I really think that's the bigger story.
Yes,
I'll let you lead into it because that really was, I think, the bigger story. Even
I
think
about
the Super Bowl.
I think that's super huge because that's a shift of power. I think now to compete with Tampa Bay in the NFC and compete with Seattle's and all them, the Rams made a huge move to get Stafford over onto their team. My question about the whole trade, and the trade when Stafford goes to the LA Rams, Detroit gets Goff plus 2022 and a 2023 first round pick. So future wise, I think let's talk about the Rams first. Rams, I think is a great trade. I think it's to get Stafford there. I think he has a stronger arm than Goff. I think he reads that off. I think once he learns that offense, he reads it a little bit faster than Goff to prevent turnovers. And I think Stafford has the ability when Rams get down to bring them back. He has that good of an arm with the weapons around him. But the negative of that trade, they gave away their future.
Yeah,
they gave away 2 first rounds.
Yeah.
that's gonna hurt them. I mean, if they're playing, so that means to me right now the Rams are playing for the now. They're not playing for the future. They're not playing to sustain the consistent success. They're playing for now. They feel they got a window right now, a certain window to go get them another Super Bowl. So they made the necessary trades to do that now. Let's go to Detroit side. Detroit, I think Detroit is in a situation where like they're going to scrap everything, and we're going to start from brand new and start building future by building on the next couple of years to get ourselves to become a playoff team. Goff is just a sacrifice lamb in there. They got themselves a quarterback that they said, hey, he can help us ride these next couple of years while we're starting to build our team over and rebuild our team, and you got to get all these draft picks and let's start to formulate again. Goff's a winner. Let's not get me wrong. Goff can play.
Yeah.
But Goff is now
he's a little light. He's a little light,
yeah,
right? I mean, he's a little undersized. I think
he's entered into that part of his career where injuries are starting to become play a factor.
Yeah.
He hurt his hand. He tried to come back. He didn't play good, but he hurt his hand. I think the year before he kind of tweaked his knee before. And I think he takes a lot of hits. He took a lot more hits than he did in his first couple of years. So that just starts to run its course. You mean to tell me you got hit with the Rams? You're definitely gonna get hit while you playing in Detroit. So I think injuries are gonna start to take its toll a little bit on him. But I think he's if he puts his mind to it and puts his grind to it, he can be that quarterback that kind of helps to start the change of that franchise. I don't think he'll be there for the end of the successful of it if this change works, but he'll be the one that kind of kicks off that change. They got the draft picks they needed. They're gonna be young real fast. They're going to have some dynamic players with all these first-round draft picks coming in and competing and rocking and rolling along as the scouts do the right job on evaluating these guys. And then now, I think we'll see a drastically different Detroit Lions in 2 or 3 years than we have seen the past 2 or 3 years. I think they'll be drastically improved because I think you see a lot of guys. Other teams are getting old.
Was Stafford in Detroit when Calvin Johnson was there?
No, not at all.
Okay,
I don't believe he was there.
Because that was so when Megatron said, "I'm through with y'all, and you're not gonna keep hitting me in the head."
Yeah.
when he retired, I can't remember who the quarterback was at that time, but that's kind of when they did a rebuilding. And it's unfortunate that they got to keep doing it in such short time increments because they haven't gotten to where they need to be.
But I think that's fun. It's funny, the teams that have been able to sustain longevity and being successful, the front office stays the same, coaches staff stays the same, and main players mostly stays the same. If you look at the New England's, I mean, he has some attrition within the staff, but Belichick is there. His system is still there.
Yeah,
front office is still there. Those guys are doing the same thing. The Ravens, same system. Harbaugh's still the coach. They have some pieces changing on the field a little bit, but he pretty much keeps his OC, and then in the front office it stays the same. GM and those guys stay the same. I think you have to have some stability at those positions, helping you build this team. I don't think people understand. Everyone that plays in the NFL is very gifted.
Yeah,
they're very talented athletes. People can win. That's why you see one player go from one team and then you never heard of him, and then all of a sudden he's a success and he's blowing up. He's doing
Michael
really
Evans.
good. Yeah,
right.
Doing great in these next things because they're all very talented. They just need the opportunity to play.
Yeah.
I think it's really, really imperative that these GMs and stuff, how they build their team and and what system they fall into, that plays along on their success. I wish Goff much success because I think he's going to need it. I think Stafford, he's going to have to prove himself and show out real early and fast. And with that offense, I think he will. Because they got to stay competitive. You got to think they got the Niners who's going to come up. Niners just hurt this year.
Yeah, they're going to get better.
They're going to get way better. You got Arizona who's right there on the cusp of being good, and then you got Seattle who's already good, and then it's you guys, the Rams. That's the one. That's probably the most competitive division in football. So if you don't make a move like getting Stafford, you don't make any changes, you're gonna get the same results. They had to make a change in order to kind of hopefully get themselves over that hump and leap over Seattle to get to the playoffs. So.
Yeah, and Detroit made a little change too with the coaching staff, right?
Yep.
Anthony Lyons moving from the Chargers. Man, I like me some man. That's a good man.
Great coordinator. Great coordinator.
Ever since Hard Knocks, right? I mean, that dude is just he's down. So I think that's going to be a good move for them on the OC side. We got some comments. We got folks chatting about what we talk about. My dad over here talking about Kansas City. Willie Lanier, that friend of my dad there they grew up with. So he going with the
That
old
old
school
school,
pick.
yeah, that's the old school right there. I'm with it. I'm
You
with it
know
on
what I'm
that
saying? Go with
one.
the old school pick. Brother Matthews here. Okay. What about Dion Buchanan? Yeah, Vanden Dyke. That's my old school. What you know about Vanden Vikings,
Mm,
brother? That's down there in Travis Air Force Base. That's where I went. That's where you don't mess with the Vikings, brother. We can play some ball too.
uh-huh.
First rounder playing with the Bucks. Is he with the Bucks or is he? Yeah, like Tony. He may be with New York, but yeah, you're right. Defense wins it.
Yeah,
I know we talking about these boys with these arms and these boys with these big legs who can run and run and throw, but
yeah.
you
Defense
got to
wins
stick
Super
'em.
Bowls. You know,
You got to stick.
you
Well,
know,
the New
offense.
York the Giants. What was it? The Giants that had that goal line standing,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that's how Strahan got his right.
yeah, yeah. But I mean,
And Baltimore. No, I'm thinking about Baltimore.
yeah,
I'm thinking about
Baltimore got theirs. I mean, let's be honest. The better defenses is the ones that wins the
yeah
Super Bowl.
yeah.
The year your boys won it, the defense was obviously better than Arizona. When your boys got their Super Bowl, it's been historical. The Chicago Bears when they had their historical defense.
Why you just blow by that? Why don't
The
you go ahead and just
Giants.
elaborate and
Oh
marinate
man,
on my
y'all,
Steelers? Go ahead and
y'all.
marinate on that a little
I'm a
bit there.
marinate that Larry Fitzgerald was 1 inch away from.
But you know what? There go them technical difficulties again. I think it's your screen right now.
but no, no. I believe greater defenses, especially when it comes to the big games, are the ones
Yeah.
that win it. Iconic Tampa Bay defense when they had theirs, when they won it with Gruden. The Chicago Bears when they had their
Mm,
defense, all the way to the
facts.
Giants and the Ravens. All those teams that have really dynamic defenses who can go in there and play and win and beat these offenses. Today's game is not like that no more, though. Again, it's not like that anymore. That's why you see these teams putting up 40, 50 points because, as we know, you can't put your hands on them if you're a defensive back. You can't touch them this way. You can't hit them hard to intimidate them. If you have
Yeah.
your head down too much, it's a penalty. So the game has changed. They want to be more offensive focused. So now guys like Mahomes and these other guys can be more successful in being that. But with that said, you still have to have a good enough defense to at least to make one or two stops in order
True.
for them to be successful. I think Kansas City can stop or make a turnover with Brady. Brady, as great as Brady's been this year, he's been that bad as well.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're
Mahomes,
right.
Mahomes hasn't been bad all year. Now this may be the game he takes a a dump and mess up, but I just don't see it. I think they're going to be ready.
Look, he was in concussion protocol. He didn't say out loud that he had a concussion, but he was in
Yeah.
the protocol. He's got the turf toe issue, but I've seen him out there running this past week doing some
Looking
things.
good.
So
So I think they're going to be okay. And just like I said, I think with that trade, that's just one of the biggest trades. It's subtle, but it's a big trade in trying to shift the powers in football with Stafford going to the Rams. The
yeah.
Rams are trying to make a position to leapfrog Seattle and be in a
Mhm.
position where they're playing either Tampa Bay or somebody else in the NFC Championship in the next year or two, period, to get themselves to the Super Bowl. So we there, man. I mean, I'm
It's
looking
exciting
forward
time,
to the
right? It's
game. Yeah,
exciting.
I'm looking forward to the game. Now I'm ready for these. As we get closer, we're looking for these NBA stuff going on and all this other madness. But I mean, right now we're in a good position sports wise. I think
Yeah.
we're in a great. I think I'm so happy about the politics being boring again.
Yes, sir.
I ain't good. I ain't really heard no news. I'm good with that. It's born. All they're talking about is the vaccine and his brother trying to do in the stock market and his brother trying to get the vaccine. So we good, man. I'm glad that now the politics are boring again, and now we're
Yeah.
back to kind of concentrating on sports and now healing our society, what we've been through for the last couple of years, man. With all this, the racial turmoil and all this division and all this, bickering and battering against each other. I think sports is one of the most platforms to kind of bring us all together.
Man, I can't say anything better than that because that's exactly it, man. So, folks, thank you very much for joining us. God, y'all, Team No Sleep is in the building for January 31st. We appreciate the engagement. This is what we do. We
Yep.
did a little early today. We typically will film and shoot on Sundays at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, right? Make sure you hit your boy up on YouTube because we trying to do big things this year.
Mhm.
Montel, let me go and throw up your website too because we need folks to know what you're doing down there
Oh yeah,
in
yeah.
SoCal. Look, we're gonna represent, we're gonna recognize, right? This is a joint collaboration. So, folks,
Absolutely.
thank you very much. We will not be filming next Sunday because the game is on.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna need you to get your when you lose the bet. I'm gonna need you to be ready or something. So I don't know if I need you to put on like a tutu or I don't know
I'm
some different color
I'm
clothes,
I'm gonna
colors
rock
that you.
so yeah, I'm gonna rock something to represent of you if I lose. But I think if I win, you make sure you represent and we'll put a Mountain Dew or a Coca-Cola
Yeah,
on the bet,
there you
and then
go.
that's a nice shameless plug for Pepsi and Coca-Cola. That's a nice
I
shameless
love it.
plug.
Yeah, I'm gonna reach out to him, see if we can get some
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
sponsorships.
yeah, yeah. Gatorade and all y'all nice little shameless
Yeah,
plug,
dog it,
and other brothers will pay the bills. But I mean, yeah, we'll definitely have a gentleman's bet going on, man. And like I said, hopefully we just have a good game,
yeah.
and then hopefully we can just, like I said, keep mending these social issues that we have in through the platform of sports.
I love it, man. Appreciate you. We out, y'all. Be good to yourselves. Take care of your families. We out.
Absolutely.